Welcome to our Wisdom Whispers this month with Alexei Woods from Universal Movement. And she's going to come and inspire us and share her wisdom around lunar and cyclical living, connecting with the sun, the stars, and the moon, and all those good things that we really love at the Wisdom Seeker Society. Thank you, Alexei.
Thank you. I'm really, really pleased to be here. I'm really excited to share this with you. This is obviously a subject I'm very passionate about, and it's changed my life. So it's just lovely to be able to share these little bits of wisdom seeking bits and pieces with you. And thank you for the opportunity.
You're most welcome. And Alexei comes from a physical movement space into a celestial movement space. So I think it's gorgeous.
That is true. Yes. Yes. Yeah. I'm now trying to mix the two. So
Yeah.
This is what I'm really enjoying. I'm loving all this kind of fusion, as we grow, always learning. But yes, mixing movement, meditation, and the rhythms and cycles is something I particularly love to do.
Yeah, which includes medicinal or astrology, using
Yes.
body astrology, moonology. I know there's a little bit of moonology in there, chakra systems,
Exactly,
all
because
kinds of.
everything is linked, and that's what I'll show you in today's class, really, that it's more about body astrology and how we can bring that into our life and how that can create like a full self-care system for us to be able to follow. Because a lot of the time we don't really know what to do for self-care, or at least I didn't know for a very long time. And this has kind of paved the way for something to actually follow to do. So, yeah.
Because there isn't a one size fits all, is
No,
there?
not at all. And we're
No.
all unique and different on a different path. And this is what's nice about it, because it's energy you can tap into and take what you need and then come away with a rounded, well-being kind of system to follow. And that's what I'll share with you today.
Yeah.
So yeah, whenever
I'm going
you're
to leave you to it.
Lovely to have you all here. I am going to share my screen because I've made a special, very snazzy, or what I think is snazzy, presentation. Here we go. Let me see if I can present this properly. There we go. Can we all
very snazzy, very snazzy. Like it.
Thank you. So just to give you a teeny tiny bit of background, I started living cyclically about 5 years ago, maybe a bit longer. I started following the moon. I was suffering with a great deal of tiredness. I had a very young child. I was coming out of being a very busy business owner of a dance studio that used to run 200 classes a week, 50 staff. And it wasn't the internet days where you would do one thing and sell it online. It was the days that when you did one-to-ones all day, all night, you exhausted yourself. So this is where I came from. And I needed something to replenish my energy. And also I found love for yoga nidra, which is particularly where my skills lie, I feel now. And I'd like to mix this in with this methodology that I've sort of created around the sun, moon, and stars. But I really did start with the moon. But let's get started. So I've called it universal movement because it is mixing in everything, or trying to mix everything that we know about the universe and the seasons, a bit of astrology, and taking those elements of these seasons each month and actually linking them to a chakra, an emotion, the planetary ruler, the house. And by having this knowledge, it gives us a really rounded, each month is actually something totally different from the other month. And by following that, we can create like a really aligned self-care program for ourselves, which I find really interesting. We can do this personally to us even, which is amazing. By looking at your birth chart, you can actually work out, actually, I could use a bit more of this in my life, or I like this type of movement, or all sorts of things, but that will come later. But yes, so following each season, some of you may be aware, or maybe not aware, in astrology, each sign actually links to an area of the body. It's under medical astrology, which I've studied. And when I discovered this, it's changed everything for me, because discovering the moon phases is one thing, and that's our energy levels as women, the 28-day cycle. For men, it's the 24-hour clock, the sun. For women, it's the moon. But when you start to look at a whole season, and you understand that Aries season is ruler of the head, and we're really in our head, and it's all to do with passion and thought, and putting yourself out there and so on this season. And being ruler of the head, it means that we can focus on different areas. So we can focus on our mental health, our, for instance, mindfulness, meditation. We can focus on maybe taking more care of the face, doing face yoga, getting a haircut, little things like that. And as the seasons go through, you're actually going through each area of the body. So Taurus is the next location lower down, it's the neck. Then Gemini, which Gemini is really interesting, it's everything that's twin in the body. So it's the lungs, the two lungs, the arms, the hands and fingers. And Gemini, you could link that to, for instance, breath work. You could link that to the chakra. There's so many different things. I'm going to show you this a little bit later. But anyway, so by following very simply the season of that sign, we can link it to the emotion, we can link it to the planetary ruler, which is usually has a big link together. Then we can link it to the particular chakra. And by understanding with the moon that, new moon is when our energy is at its lowest. And as that peaks, we can be doing more things. And as that descends, that's when we should be doing much less towards the dark moon. And yes, I think that women have sort of set themselves up in society to do it all the time, and they don't allow themselves to take a break, really. And this kind of method is me trying to tell women it's okay, you can take a break, trying to force them to actually, well, not force them, but suggest to them that it's there is moments in the cycle which are very clear to us with the dark moon and new moon that we should be resting and shouldn't really be doing much else other than maybe setting intentions. And then as our energy grows, we can bring in more self-care practices, maybe some movement, but some people are, trying to hit the treadmill every day, and they wonder why they can't sustain something, or they wonder why it's, even in work, like why we are burning out so quickly, because we're not actually giving ourselves the rest we should. So anyway, if that makes sense. So yes, as I've explained, this methodology throughout, a year, you can visit each area of the body and very easily tap into that energy, understand, check in with your emotions, check in with the body area, maybe do some self-care towards that body area if you can. And you've got a whole month to do that. And as I was saying, a lot of people don't really seem to understand what to actually do when it comes to taking care of themselves. What is self-care? Is it putting a face pack on? What is it exactly? So this is a way for us to be able to connect with the planets, with the chakras, with the moon cycle, and it creates a really nice natural way to live and something to actually follow. It's taken me about 3 years to get my head around it all, but in fact it's so simple. It's literally, we're going through each area of the body, following the moon cycle for those high moments and those low moments. I hope that makes sense. So this is a chart which I'm happy to pass on to you all. It gives you an idea of actually how simple it is. So for instance, Aries is the ruler of the brain. It's the ruler of the upper jaw, the teeth. Taurus, we go down the body, is the neck. Again, it's the lower teeth, it's the tongue, it's the throat, which is what we're in now. Gemini is the nervous system, and also it's all the twins in the body. Leo is a wonderful one. It's the spinal column, but it's all the energy within the spinal column. So it's the heart center, which obviously the heart center is our life force, and it's linked to the sun, as you can imagine, you know, the sun being our life force, and that's how Leos and fire signs actually replenish their energy by the sun. But if you think about it like this, you have a big aura around you, you have this energy flowing in the spine. So it's great for these people to be doing like Kundalini yoga, for instance, or, you know, in Aries season, just checking in with your spine, going through the chakras in the spine. You know, it's also the crown chakra, Leo. So really connecting with source, you know. Cancer is actually ruled by the moon. So if anyone's Cancerian, they should be following the moon simply for their emotions, because the moon signs can explain to us very clearly what emotion you're feeling. And there are certain, I started to take notes a while ago of all, you know, the phases and the moon signs. So for instance, which I'm sure some of you are aware, but maybe not, throughout 365 days, every 2.5 days, we are in a different moon sign, which is the 12 signs each month, each 28 days. But also we're in a different phase. So you're never in the same phase and moon sign throughout the whole year. So as many of you may be aware, you would start a new moon in Aries. 6 months later, it would be full moon in Aries. And then 6 months after that, it will be dark moon in Aries and new moon, and the cycle repeats again. So we know that, for instance, taking this information here, Aries, ruler of the head, for the dark moon, what can we do with that? We can do some meditation. We can be doing self-care for the face, the teeth. I think you get what I mean. And full moon, that's where things are kind of heightened and we have a spotlight on them, and we can be doing more movement, you know, something like that. So this is where I've taken this method and tried to bring that in. But the moon signs and emotions for Cancerians is so important, because the moon is our inner world. It's how we feel. It's the emotional tide, if you like. And with that, we can be taking note of the moon sign, what emotion that brings, and following that, because there are definitely times of the month. And for me, it's always Aries moon. When it's an Aries moon, I am mad. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm all over the place. But I started to notice it's always on an Aries moon. And it's like, right, okay, there is these times of the month that actually I'm not quite myself. And that's specific signs. And it's interesting to work out if there is a specific sign, and that kind of makes you feel like that. Virgo is all to do with like gut health. And what's interesting about Virgo is it's the whole of the digestive system. And it's also how we digest emotions, how we digest everyday things, you know. So they're also very particular people. What I mean by, sorry, I'm a Virgo rising. They're very like attention to detail and things like that. But usually they worry quite a lot about their health, especially gut health. So Virgos should always go and check out, you know, check out gut health. Libra is all about balance. It is starting, as you've noticed, we're starting to go down the body. So it's, you know, it's kidneys, it's also to do with harmonizing all of that. And Scorpio is to do with their kind of reproductive system. Also, what I find hilarious about Scorpio is it's a reproductive system, but it's also ruler of the nose, which is just strange, but it is. And Capricorn is a wonderful sign to work with because it's all the structure of the body, it's all the bones, teeth, nails. So this is the kind of time you can say, right, I'm going to go and get my teeth checked out, or I'm going to go and see a chiropractor and just make sure my back's in line, just one time of the year, if need be. And Aquarius, lower legs, and then Pisces. Pisces is probably one of the most fascinating signs. It is ruler of the feet, but it's ruler of the pineal gland and ruler of our sleep, dreams, and illusions. So obviously, being the most spiritual sign, it is fascinating. It's also, you know, the blood, all the system. So yeah, there's a lot to work with, and we can take all of these things and turn them into little self-care bits and pieces for us to do. So let me see if I can move that. So I just wanted to give you an example. So I'm going to give you 3 examples: Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. So it's a fire sign. The ruler is Mars. It's all to do with desire, energy. It kickstarts the year. It's the solar plexus chakra. And also, it's the sort of thing, they love to set goals, you know, at the beginning of every astrological year. It's great to kind of set those goals. And I think that many of us almost exhaust ourselves at the end of Pisces season when it's winter, and that's all of our sleep, and when we're meant to be resting and hibernating. In fact, we're planning all this stuff for spring and so on. And I think, you know, I see a lot of women that come to me have done way too much in winter time and getting ready for spring, and by the time spring has hit, they are just flat out exhausted, and then it's eclipse season and it's all of this. So it really is important to see Pisces as a time to, Pisces season as a time to rest, okay, before we go into this. But the sort of self-care that Aries might like, head massages, affirmations, acupuncture, facials, saunas, because they like it hot. They also may get headaches when they are very tired. So if you know an Aries, they do push themselves a lot of the time. So meditation is really good for them. Let's move on. So Taurus, being the earth sign that it is, beautiful sign, all to do with love, money. Is obviously the heart chakra, which I find that link really great. And obviously, you know, the planetary ruler Venus. But that is ruler of the ears, jaw, tongue. It's actually ruler of like the 5 senses. Taurus really love to be able to touch things like velvet or the earth, you know, they like to garden and so on. So that's always a great self-care for them, to be outdoors just in general. Like to nurture, excuse me, but they might like neck massages, singing, you know, it's all around the throat. Actually, there's some incredible Taurian singers out there in the world. Essential oils, herbs, working with all of this, you know. They may love Tai Chi, yoga. All Taurus is actually, I didn't mention that about Aries, but I'll tell you in a moment. Taurus, movement-wise, they like it slow and steady, very sensual. And they would probably like practices like yoga, Kundalini yoga, and taking that outside is always great. I think I have a comment. Oh. My aunt was a Taurus and her garden was incredible. That's amazing. Yes. Yes, lovely. Exactly. And for instance, Aries, they like a quick fix sort of workout. They are the sort of people that want to hit class and, you know, to be running, doing a sprint, if you see what I mean. So let's move on to Gemini. Gemini being an air sign, I am a Gemini. I love everything to do with obviously big spaces, you know, that's kind of my way to meditate, get out and look at the sky in general. But they also like, you know, being communication ruler, They love to socialize, social butterflies. Also, they may love shoulder massages, which I certainly do. It's all to do with the upper shoulders, and you know, things like breath work's great for them, using foam roller, as I've mentioned, but the sort of kind of sports they like is like hand-eye coordination, like very fast from brain to hand, because also they rule, I think they rule, I can't remember if it's the left or the right side of the brain, but they do rule part of the brain and the nervous system. So yoga nidra, obviously, for them is fantastic. I am not going to go through every single sign. I did want to touch on the moon and how we can bring this in. So as I've already mentioned, the moon phases every 2.5 days, and that energy flow. For instance, if we were to start new moon, I would recommend actually to do no movement at all, just to be meditating, setting those intentions, taking some time off, doing nothing, you know. And then a couple of days later, that's when we sort of start to plan and to set those kind of intentions and goals that we want to do into action. That can be going up to the waxing moon, but during that time, a few days later, you can start to do a bit of movement. You know, you can start to do some gentle Pilates or some yoga, etc. And then by the time you're at full moon, it's the sort of thing that you can be really going for it and doing a, you know, a run, more sporting activity, because you have more energy. And as the dark, you know, as the moon wanes, then we can be doing again more stretch, more relaxation. And dark moon is like just forbidden. It's like nothing at all. It's as much as possible. And this is why I do actually run like rest rituals, because I find that very important, and I run those every full moon to help women let go, and also every dark moon to let go at the end of the cycle. And yeah, I find them very effective, because there are a few times of the month we do actually need to kind of reset. And using the moon, its beautiful illumination that's there, is just a perfect way of doing that, you know. So yes, energy wise, a lot of people, well, not everyone, but some may notice that they don't sleep so well around a full moon time. So what is great to realize is dark moon, you may notice even with, if you have pets and animals, always when it's dark moon, I have the 3 cats on the bed. Full moon, they all want out, you know, roaming the town. So it's the same for us, you know. It should be a time that we can schedule in more rest time. And you know, full moon of the cycle, let's go out and party, you know. Yeah. Okay, so I hope that explains some things. Now, what's interesting about putting this together, when you look at your chart, so if you're looking at your personal birth chart, because you can work out your actual self-care for yourself, which is fascinating, I find. Your sun sign is how you can replenish your energy. It's how you can, it's your vital force, it's your chi. So if you're a fire sign, as I mentioned earlier, you can be going out and sun seeking, you know, relaxing in the sun, sitting in the sun for 10 minutes a day. All these things to be able to relax. Maybe also things to do with heat, like, you know, saunas, etc. If you're a water sign, obviously water, being in water is extremely healing. So using these things, you know, having a bath or going swimming, or, you know, going to a spa if you can, or whatever. And knowing these things, that these are the way to replenish your vital force, is really important, I think. And that's how we can really replenish our energy. Using the moon sign, your moon sign is your internal emotions. So by understanding your moon sign, it's your inner world, it's how you feel, how you think, and the effect on our kind of impact of emotions and impact on other people's, you know, how we react to things. And that's great to be aware of. And this is why it's great to take note of signs, especially the moon signs, because we can have a clear idea of, okay, that emotion is linked to that. And full moon Aries, everyone's arguing and this and so on. And rising sign's a really interesting one, with I think a lot of people don't realize, is that it's actually how other people perceive you. So it's like that first impression where somebody can look at you as also part of like your personality, you know, parts of your personality, but it's external. So you may feel like a Leo inside, but you may look like a Virgo, and you know that can be, or you may be you may have a rising sign which is Leo, so you look like you're really in the spotlight all the time, but in fact you're you feel very shy inside, you know. So this is how you get people with characters that don't understand how come they are so much seen, you know, when actually they don't want to be, you know, or the vice versa. Is interesting. So yes, that's how we can tell that, but you can go deeper into understanding like planetary rulers and so on. Like your Mars placement will explain to you what kind of movement you like. So by understanding if it's what sign it's in, we can see what type of movement we like. For instance, as I was explaining, in Taurus, they like slow and steady, you know. If your Mars placement is in, for instance, Aries, you may like a hit class. Okay. So yes, this is quite a new method. It's something I've been playing with for about 4 years now. And I am going to be, well, I've just launched a small community called Secrets of the Moon, where I'm going to help women mainly, and men if they want, to align with the phases and the emotions of the moon. So that is lunar alignment. And it is a free community. I'll send you a link in the chat if you'd like to join, or you can just visit universalmovement.com. And it's something which I think is really important for us to be able to understand our emotions. I do offer meditations in there as well. Later this year, I will be launching a self-care method, which is called Universal Movement, which I'm very excited about. And this will bring in, I've brought in a lot of different experts. It will touch on body astrology, but I think, you know, body astrology is great to know, but to actually, it's more about the self-care, you know. Self-care, I think our health system is really crumbling around the world, and I feel that we can really do a lot, you know, for ourselves. And this is just a really nice way to be able to look at each area of the body and tap into those areas and do something for ourselves. So that is Universal Movement, which is coming this summer. I also run rest rituals, as I mentioned, on the dark and full moon. And that is it, pretty much. That's me. Thank you so much for joining me. Please let me know if you have any questions. I'd be delighted to answer any questions. And yes.
Just to be clear, on the Instagram and YouTube, is the R in method supposed to be there?
No,
Okay.
I'm dreadfully dyslexic, so
Yeah, well, so am I. So that's why I was like, maybe. Right.
You know what? I did actually make an Instagram account with the R in, and then had a friend of mine contact me going, "Why is there an R in it?" I was, "Oh no!" So I had to go make another.
Okay, I just wanted to, because and sometimes you have to do that to like make sure you can get the site you want. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure, because I would.
Being a Virgo rising and being dyslexic is like, you know, everything, attention to detail, and you always end up getting it wrong anyway. So like,
yeah, that Virgo rising with the Leo sun sign, that was me. I was like, she's talking about
amazing.
I have a question about the pairs. I'm wondering why the kidneys aren't involved in that, aren't covered by Gemini.
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't
Okay.
know. But I know that, for instance, because if you go back, I don't know if you can still see this screen. Can you still see this screen?
Yep.
So if we go through like each, you can see from the top, you know, the beginning of the astrological year, it's the head. And then Gemini is just naturally, you know, this location, if you see
Right.
what I mean. So you'll notice a lot of Geminis have very good arms, or you know, they may like breath work, and it's a great way for them to be able to sleep, actually. So to actually do breath work for them to sleep. And yeah, anything to sleep, you know, that's that's what I enjoy.
And then my other question would be,
Mm,
and maybe it's not in the information that you found because it's a relatively new concept, is where like the vagal nerve comes in, where the whole physical handling of stress and emotional balance comes in, as far as who's in charge of it.
okay. I think, honestly, that could be a lot to do with Gemini as well, because it's ruler of the nervous system. So
Okay.
definitely nervous system. I think probably all the signs in a way, because if you know, if you think about it, we can have a lot of, you know, issues in different locations of the body. And it's interesting that when you do start to understand, okay, that is, you know, my sign and this planet is in here, because different planets can mean expansion or they can mean hardening, or, you know, and this is where you look at body astrology. And body astrology is one thing because it can teach you a lot, but I feel that it can also be used as a prevention. And this is why I've taken this, to be able to show people that you can actually just nicely look at each area of the body, be aware of it, and then see how can I improve that area. And what's lovely about it is once you follow this for a year and you feel like you've done the whole body, which, you know, it's a bit indulgent in a way, but it's not indulgent because you're kind of tapping in just a little bit. You don't have to do self-care all day and night, you know, it's just being aware of these areas. And I think, you know, there's a big misconception about self-care and indulgence and so on, but yeah, when you start to feel different energies, then it becomes really interesting. And then the following year, you can revisit those areas and you'll notice a difference. Maybe you won't, maybe it's better, maybe it's worse, maybe, you know, and this is where you can fine tune things. And that I find fascinating, because it means that we've got a full look on ourselves, both emotionally, you know, physically. And this is what I like about this method, because it's sort of, you know, it's like, oh no, this season's coming, I don't want to look at the area. But you do. So I hope that makes sense in some way.
It does. And then my last question is, when are you coming out with a calendar
Good question. Good question.
for visual people like me that need to see it happen in a
I tried to make one, and I actually commissioned an artist to make one last year. And I don't think she really understood what I was wanting. I think she was Spanish and English, and I think there was a, you know, she's an amazing artist, but I will do that. That is something I think is needed. And thank you for mentioning that, because I will do that. I'll let you know when there is one, but maybe next astrological year, you know, maybe next March, I can arrange that. So would be good. But I think it is needed, yes. It would be nice for people to see concept of time differently, I feel. That's really what this is about, because it's, you know, making us live in cycles, whether you're following new moon to dark moon, or whether you're following beginning of, you know, each sun sign season, or, you know, astrological sign. We're all living in cycles, you know, and that I find much more understandable than the way that things are at the moment, you know.
And starting on Aries, you know, it's not
Yeah.
the 1st of January.
Yes, exactly. I really feel that, you know, the year really starts for me in spring, in Aries. That is the start of the year, and this is what we're all leading up to, and this is why I would exhaust ourselves in Pisces. That's the beginning of the year.
Well,
But
it's the Lunar New Year, so
yeah,
that makes perfect
exactly.
sense.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. And I don't celebrate New Year. I am in bed normally. Doing some yoga nidra probably. Thank you. Did you have any other questions?
I'm very interested as to how this also relate to the elements, because that's a lot about what Janice's work is also, you know, this elemental cycle in our creative process or in our living cycles. So that would also, each sign is connected to a element as well.
So this is where it's lovely, because as a practitioner, anyone can take this information and turn it into their own thing, because each sign is linked to a chakra. Each planet is linked to a chakra. Each each sign is linked to an element. And we can work with that and understand that element for that month, and then move on to the next element. And again, that's creating that balance. And also, with it being whether it's a cardinal sign, the beginning of energy, or fixed, or, all of these sorts of types of energy as well, as all things that we can work with. So this is what's lovely. You can bring this this is what I'm trying to do, bring it into my meditation practices and my yoga nidras, and into movement, because I did try to do the whole lot, and I was realized, what am I doing? I'll just go and get lots of lovely practitioner people to come in and, try to use this method the way that they'd like to. And that I find fascinating. Like even, nutritionists, life coaches, there's all sorts of, Reiki, all sorts of things that can use this and feel more aligned, That's the idea.
Well, I'm gonna be taking, I'm an acupuncturist and
Wonderful.
herbalist, and I'm gonna be taking it and actually applying the 5-element model.
Oh, amazing.
Chinese minute to see how it stacks up to make, because I think it could be really juicy.
Yes, that would be.
I'll let you know what I figure out.
Please do. And if it's of any help, I can, I'm sure you can find the information very easily, but just knowing which element is linked to which month might be interesting. It might put a timing on things, But yes, it has changed my life. It's changed the way I look at things. I needed self-care in my life, and I didn't know what to do. And by doing this, you've just got a full rounded approach. So this is why, now, for a long time, I didn't feel like I was ready to put it out there, because I felt like I had so much to learn, and I've done my learning bit now. And I really hope that this will help a lot of people.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think everything's so misaligned. It's time for us to come back into, where we really are connected, which is ourselves, but also, the bigger picture of the universe, which is we are in it, we are part of it, so we might as well flow with it. Yeah,
exactly. And also being able to just utilize it to home in for a day or two, like using that dark moon energy or full moon energy, just to be able to sit down and be within ourselves, or even the first day of each sign, taking 10 minutes just to think, right, what can I do to improve myself. And yeah, it is growth and development and all these lovely things.
Fascinating. You've really put this together well in a
Oh,
way that's accessible and
thank you.
but also meaty. Sometimes I think with some of this, it's a little here's an idea, but this isn't how it plays out through all of who you are.
Yeah.
And I'm intrigued.
This can adapt to the individual, which I find amazing. And it's about, I'm bringing awareness, if you see what I mean. It's not really I'm bringing classes on it. I'm bringing, like, this is why I wanted to set up this community, so I can do this sort of lunar alignment and say, right, now we're going into this season, so take note of this area of areas of the body, this symbol, this sign, you know, and that, you know, is hopefully going to be something that people wish to follow, you know. And at least, you know, it has taken me literally 3 years to be able to explain it the way I do now, though. In the beginning, my poor husband, he understands all of this. It's not his thing.
There's a quote, and I keep thinking of it, but I can't remember who it was, and it was something around apologies for the long letter, but I didn't have enough time to write a shorter one. You know,
Yeah.
it takes time to polish and make it.
Yeah. And this is why everyone's saying to me, just get out there and do it. And I'm like, no, I have to know what I'm talking about. I have to know what I'm doing, because this is something different. And I think it can help a lot of people. But if someone asks me questions about it, I've got to be able to feel right and confident enough to be able to reply to them, you know?
And not prescriptive.
A lot of learning.
I don't think it is a prescriptive thing. It's
No.
really giving that awareness and tickling the curiosity as to what you can do with it.
Exactly. And I do hope that people take this method, you know, the universal movement method, and apply it into their practices. I would love that. That is my dream. I'm hoping in a few years' time, because I am a teacher's teacher from my past and my dance movement past. I love teaching, and that is what I want to do. I want to try to make a program that people can take this information and start to use it, no matter, you know, what they are doing. So yes, fingers crossed. We'll see.
Yeah, and however we can support.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm just so grateful that you know, I've taken the plunge, and I've taken the plunge with some really lovely, lovely people. So I really appreciate it. I have been hiding away for a long time.
It's time.
Yeah, I do appreciate it. Thank you so much, everybody.
I think Richard has something he wants to ask.
Sure.
Well, almost a statement of sense, because we've put it in place where self-care comes after crisis. Mentality out there, and I think for all of us to look at how do we teach people self-care without them really thinking that it has to wait until you have some kind of problem. We've been an externalized society on purpose. You know, through the calendar cycle, through everything else, everything's out there, but it all starts with us. And exactly. The more language I think we can find to help people recognize how to utilize yourself, like you said, when you have these cycles, when your energy's best, and when you're, you know, when you're feeling motivated to do something and to take advantage of that motivation, when you can focus. Sometimes you can't focus. You know, we all went to jobs where we had to focus and push ourselves through, but then we get on our own, we don't have the ability, because it's like, you know, and there's nobody standing over my shoulder.
Yes, exactly. And that is fascinating, because it is usually after like a crisis or an illness, or you know, something that we take a step back and realize, oh, actually, I'm not immortal. I do need to look after myself. I'm not a superhero. And, you know, there's some things that I can look at and change here, you know. And also starting to live this way, I find, makes us extremely sensitive as well to things. And that is something which is also, some people don't want, you know, some people don't want to know too much, and other people are wanting to dive in and experience, you know, every area. So yeah.
So a thought came, because Michelle had mentioned my partner and I, Wendy, are the creators of Time Suit, and I'll let Michelle explain that, but we've kind of went out first and I'm trying to figure it out after we start. So we're explaining it as we go, and we're still fumbling. But my wife has brought in a whole point from Bruce Lipton, talked about the whole-minded state and how we can do work with that as well. So she's kind of tweaking this in her own mindset. Plus she is an astrologist in her own. She's taken some courses. So she talks to me all the time about this, and most of it just I go, what did you say? So I have to, it's there for me.
Like my husband.
Yeah, we listen well. It's a good part of our relationship.
Great.
But in this whole mind state, or however you say the sensitivity, I believe that's where our other senses come online. We talk about 5 senses, and I think that's such a lie to us, our capacity. So when you bring all these online, we bring in, they say there's 18 to 24. I think there's more. I think there's a lot more. So when we bring this online and our awareness, all our senses kick in. And it's awareness of that. We start feeling ourselves through our organs, through our meridians, because we've been so, I'm trying not to say, we've been so
numbed
so
in a way.
misaligned.
Yeah. I really feel that as well, because even, sorry to butt in, but even like the way that the world is, like in an entertainment level, like watch TV and just eat sugar and, you know, drink and whatever, it's all numbing. And these are ways of us being more open and opening up to, you know, tiny things, tiny areas of the body, like zoning in, you know, so you are going to feel more sensitive. And this is why sometimes I'm like, you know, oh, it's this season. No, I don't want to go there, but you know, you should, and you know, you need to, you know, even with the moon signs and so on. And that, I love what you've said there. I think that is 100% correct. I think that, you know, you do get more sensitive, and this is where you can bring in embodiment, you know, practices or shamanic healing, and that, you know, could be really powerful. Yeah. Lots to think about. I need some new teachers.
Well, and I would hop in and say, coming from the corner of the medicine that I practice, we are societally are so focused on yang, so focused on music, movement, so focused on masculine traits. That I don't. I mean, I know you talk about this being primarily for women, but I don't think that's true.
I don't think that's true either. Yeah,
I think cultivating yin and building potential energy to be able to then feed all of that activity is the really important piece. But the thing I really like about this is that it breaks it down into these monthly cycles that allow, and then within that, even smaller cycles to then allow people to find a rhythm again, which I don't think
exactly.
The lack of rhythm is the thing that's exhausting people.
This is the thing, and where there is no rhythm, so people are just pushing themselves all the time. And when you start to actually live by rhythm, it's great. It's actually healed me from not feeling exhausted all the time, you know, and doing some self-care, and you can change it up, you know, each month you can be like, okay, it's this ruler, so I'm going to work just with the chakras, you know, just with the throat chakra this month or whatever, you know, it's, or you can do it personally to you, you know, you can start to look at your chart and be right, okay, I'm going to take these and I feel I need this, because deep down you kind of know what you need as well, in a way. So yes, but I do love that, and I do love the fact that it's in cycles, and it's really lovely to have your opinion on this, because it's what I find fascinating about it all as well. So I'm glad you do too.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time with me. And please go to the website. Oh, that's what I wanted to remember now. The masculine and feminine thing, I completely agree with you. Because my background has always been for women, like I've always done movement and so on for women, I sort of I'm very girl's girl. I've always carried that with me. So when I actually started this, I was thinking moon, women, etc. And there's another lady who I have teamed up with to bring the Universal Movement Method, who is an incredible yoga teacher. And I'm more meditation, she's more yoga. And we're going to try to bring this method this summer. And we both agree it needs to be for masculine and feminine. It's for everyone. It's not, you know, it's no gender specific. It is literally for everybody. So we are trying to work out how we're going to explain that and doesn't look so feminine when you come and visit our site. but yeah,
It's the balance. It's the Jungian anima and animus. You know, you have the one and the other, and they search for each other. So the divine feminine needs the divine masculine
exactly
to create that balance.
Yeah.
And I think the right men will see that.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah. But thank you for that. I do totally agree. It is for everybody. So yes. And yes, thank you.
And please share your community, your new community with us. I will
Yes, of
put it in.
course. If you go to universalmovement.com and if you click on Lunar Alignments page, on there is something called Secrets of the Moon. I've put it on as like £1 to join, because I want people to be serious who are coming into the community. The doors are opening to it in a few weeks' time, but you can access now. Okay. But if you type in the words Secrets of the Moon, then you get it for free.
Okay. Thank you. I will share it in the WhatsApp group as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, Alexei. I hope we can draw you in again, or do something else, or kind of talk to you more, because there's so much in this. And I think we all discover as we speak to others within the space.
Brilliant. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.